Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by H Weather Forecast. This is going to be another severe weather forecast, as you can tell by the title, but this would be for later, actually now earlier into early to mid next week here. Potential very widespread threat throughout much of the Mississippi River Basin area, also into the Midwest, and once again the South Central. This is going to be a potential very widespread severe weather threat throughout Tuesday all the way up to Wednesday's the main threat. But again, we're gonna be seeing very strong linear bands throughout all these areas, and that's gonna be it's gonna be long out or long track forecast here on the severe weather. Since it is still again not incredibly close from here. But if you are new, please subscribe if you love daily weather forecasts and love especially severe weather forecasts as we do get more into tornado season. Again, also be sure to help grow my channel by sharing it to any friends or family that you know will also love my daily weather forecast or that you think want to know about this potential upcoming severe weather threat. Without further ado, let's get in this video. So I made this map earlier, or actually not too far, maybe 2 hours ago, and this is again the general area. So areas in the red, dark or light is where we have this potential for severe weather all the way from for Tuesday and Wednesday again. We might even see the severe weather continue on and off on Thursday, but I'm just gonna wait for that to get a bit closer since that's actually very too far out. But again, here we have this risk again. As you can tell, it's actually going to go all the way up to the Minnesota area and Wisconsin. We've been seeing some very strong bands on and off in the past couple of weeks for Wisconsin. We'll start to see that become a bit more widespread now as we get warmer temperatures throughout the United States. We're going to be seeing these severe weather potential increasing as we continue to move on closer to May. But again, definitely much of the Mississippi River again in a threat for severe weather, as well as all the way to the South Dakota area, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. So in this lighter red color, we do have a severe weather threat, but it's not as bad. Again, we will be seeing some stronger bands as of right now based on all the radars, all the Cape values, even using the winds. We're using all of that to help make my map. So again, areas near Omaha, Sioux City, Minneapolis, Green Bay, Chicago, Madison, Wisconsin, maybe even Indianapolis. You guys can be on the outer edge for severe weather mainly on Wednesday. New Orleans areas again near the Texarkana area. Omaha, of course. Those are areas in the lighter red. We have a severe weather threat, but it's not going to be as severe as in the darker shade of red. So in the darker shade of red near Little Rock in Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport, we have actually two areas. We have two areas of really big severe weather threats. That's going to be throughout the Mississippi River area in the Midwest, including Illinois, Indiana, parts of Missouri, even Iowa, up into southern Minnesota, and also a big severe weather junction there, where we do have a severe weather area there for Louisiana, Mississippi, a part of Arkansas, maybe even tips of northeastern Texas. So again, of course, it's going to change a lot as we get closer. Again, still around a half week away. But again, just in general, let's take areas in Interstate 10, Interstate 40, 70, 80, 94, and 49. Throughout all these areas, we do have, again, that very big threat for severe weather out there. But again, this is what my forecast does show. Now let's get all the models and all that helps me make my forecast so you guys have a better view in this. First thing we're going to be looking at is actually the jet stream and all the winds here. That's going to be set in place for the severe weather here. So first we're going to be looking at is actually we're going to be showing you with the severe weather, the jet stream that's actually causing the severe weather in the southeast right or the south central right now. We're going to be seeing this jet stream here moving in. We're bringing a ton of wind shear here set in place. Going to bring a very strong wind as well in the higher atmosphere again. Definitely going to cause a lot of wind shear, a lot of straight line winds. That's going to be causing it. You can just see right in this area south of this jet stream, we'll be seeing that severe weather. That's what we're going to be seeing again set in place for the severe weather here all the way up to Sunday. We'll be possibly seeing some severe weather in the south central, but very scattered. And then as we get closer early next week, we're going to start seeing another jet stream coming in place, but this is actually not going to really come in from the southwest and then dip up. That's why we won't have necessarily this severe weather threat just for the south central. This is why it's going to be so widespread. This jet stream is not going to come in from the Pacific Northwest. Now going to bring in very strong winds out here into the areas, into the even in the northwest, getting to the northern plains. We do have that's very strong wind in the higher atmosphere. Definitely bring in some severe weather out here in areas like Nebraska, even South Dakota. Here you can definitely see exactly. You're going to be seeing these isobars very, very close to each other right here. That's going to cause, again, very, very strong winds out there into many areas in the Midwest. Again, here we have again once again that jet stream that's going to bring in the severe weather mainly south of this this far northern part. This jet stream that's going to be really in between. As we're going to be seeing this red, we're going to be seeing very strong wind up to 85 knots, 84 knots, and even 88 knots in the higher atmosphere in some of these areas. And it's actually going to be strengthening this jet stream here. You're going to be seeing even stronger winds. You can just see this kind of thing just kind of twirl like this. You're going to be seeing, again, kind of like a little twirl in this jet stream. Again, it's going to be by Thursday where we have that potential severe weather moving into the southeast. But it won't be too bad necessarily, but we'll see up to 108 knots, 106 knots in some of these areas in the higher atmosphere. And then and that does move out, and then we potentially have maybe a little bit break from severe weather, but then we have another jet stream that could possibly again maybe bring in another north central severe weather outbreak. Now we're going to be looking at the general GFS radar here. We're going to be looking at other models, of course, so you guys can see a better outlook other than the GFS. So again, by Tuesday, into Tuesday, again, April 28th, here we have this first severe weather now here into the northern plains. So it's actually going to be beginning in the northern plains now. We're going to be seeing our first severe weather moving to the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota. You guys are going to be involved. This is going to be your first real severe weather. Again, we're going to be seeing a huge warm up here as well. So definitely be seeing this potential for severe weather. As you can tell, it's going to be very widespread, like you saw on my map. It's going to be really strong bands all the way from the Canada border up to the close to the Gulf Coast. So definitely be something we see usually in July. Sometimes we see this with snowstorms, of course, there's big areas of rain. But again, it's going to be severe weather now. Again, it's also going to cause a widespread flash flooding threat for these areas. Right here, we have our low pressure system at 993 millibars. Very powerful cells and possibly again bands as well, moving all the way to Missouri, Minnesota, and then as we continue to move on now into Wednesday morning, we have again that big severe weather threat as well in the south central. We're going to be seeing warmer temperatures, this moisture stream. So that's where we have two pockets of the worst severe weather possible. Okay, that's where we have one in the south central, and that's where we have one here in the Midwest. We'll also be seeing incredibly strong bands likely here into southern Illinois, areas eastern Missouri, and even a very strong bands possibly moving to the Wisconsin area. You guys are very likely to see these very strong bands. And then by Thursday, again, we do have this more rain threat by Thursday. We could be seeing scattered thunderstorms out here into the southeast, but going to be seeing a really big rain event out here. And then even by Friday, we'll be seeing some rain into the northeast here. Now to look at the European radar. Again, same timing, 96 hours out. Tuesday, here we have the severe weather developing into North Dakota, or in general the Dakotas and parts of the Midwest and the northern central plains for Minnesota, Iowa, and seeing some scattered rain showers and possibly a thunder or two maybe heard in Wisconsin, Iowa, or sorry, not Iowa, Ohio. Then as we get later into Wednesday in the day, definitely see the severe weather outbreak or severe weather threat really ramping up out here into the south central as well, and even seeing some very strong rain likely in severe weather for northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. You guys would definitely be seeing quite the strong bands likely here. And again, it's going to be stretching all the way from Canada out here to the Houston area. That's going to be really a cross-country system, except not like the crossing the country this way, west to east or east to west, but crossing it south to north or north to south. Again, you can definitely really see this really strong, really powerful bands becoming very widespread across the Mississippi Valley, even affecting areas out there, possibly affecting once again the Ohio Valley. Once again, you guys are seeing very heavy rain moving here. You guys are definitely going to have flash flood warnings once again, because you guys have definitely been seeing quite the heavy rain out here in these areas in the Ohio Valley. So definitely be seeing more and more flooding threats, and then again severe weather threats, and again very strong bands moving down to Indiana, Illinois, and much of the Midwest off the other side of the Great Lakes by Wednesday. Again, Wednesday definitely looks like it's going to be the worst day for severe weather, and then this continues. The severe weather kind of diminishes. This threat really kind of falls apart. Maybe not going to be seeing much of a threat by Thursday. And again, that could bring in some very strong bands though for the Mid-Atlantic once we get into Thursday. So it looks like we could possibly see another severe weather threat now for areas into the northeast, where you guys did see again that severe weather threat earlier this week, or also last week we had a tornado warning for Long Island that will be possibly coming in, but the other direction, not in the Mid-Atlantic, and not really coming off from Lake Erie or Lake Huron. Now again, here we are going to be looking at the Tuesday again. This is 96 hours for the pivotal weather here. Again, this is another model of the GFS. Here we have this low pressure system here at 1,002 millibars, bringing the heavy rain for the Dakotas. Starting to see that severe weather ramping up all the way into Kansas. Starting to see things getting a bit active. Here by later into Tuesday, next 102 hours here, we had this rain definitely becoming a lot more widespread, seeing the heaviest rain possibly likely actually in Minnesota with that low pressure system at 997 millibars and even strengthening a lot more right over this band. So definitely be seeing what we usually see in the South Central with those really strong bands. Even with today, we saw those low pressure system strengthening right over that band, and they're just going to increase that threat for Arkansas. And again, here we have the other threat now for the South Central Plains. That's going to be for Kansas and Oklahoma. As we now get into the next 114 hours, look at this major band right here. This is going to be really strong linear bands. Here we have it now at 993 millibars. That's definitely going to be strengthening this risk here. Definitely be seeing possibly some wall cloud. It's just going to be that little, it's kind of like a little front. Here you have again that cold front. It is going to be pushing it out. Here again, multiple waves of severe weather now for the South Central. Also again, the Ohio Valley. That's why we have this red in some of these areas into southern Illinois. Again, definitely going to be seeing another outbreak here for some of these areas as well, but not really likely as much as not really bringing the opposing threat of tornadoes as much as we're possibly going to be seeing the South Central with this, but definitely going to be seeing a widespread hail threat. That is very likely throughout all of this severe weather outbreak. And then as we get later into Wednesday night and then Thursday morning, seeing that severe weather threat kind of diminishing off into the Appalachians and seeing that scattered rain showers out there on the other side of the Great Lakes and seeing some rain showers continuing off on and off in the Midwest. Now we'll be looking at the Cape Valleys here again. Going to be mainly seeing the amount of energy. We usually see this energy maintaining south of. We're going to be seeing obviously a lot more Cape Valleys in the South Central at this point, since it is not going to be seeing as much energy flow all the way up there into the Dakotas. But definitely going to be seeing a ton of Cape Valleys here and energy that bring in these storms, of course, out here in the South Central. That's going to definitely flow in this energy. Again, we'll possibly see around maybe a little less than maybe 2,000 joules per kilogram, maybe 2,500. Not going to be seeing a ton of energy compared to what we're seeing now, up to 5,000 joules per kilogram. And then we'll be seeing our maximum really at 3,000 joules per kilogram inland. But we'll be seeing some higher numbers later on into Tuesday. We'll start to see maybe some closer to 4,000, maybe around 3,800 south of Dallas. Maybe seeing closer again to 4,000 near the Corpus Christi area. Again, just going to be seeing this amount of energy flow getting a bit more defined once this jet stream has come in. So again, by Wednesday, then that's when we'll start to see this energy flow really kicking in. Maybe seeing around 5,000 joules per kilogram, but seeing around 5,300 off the Gulf, and then we'll see this energy kind of die down a little bit once this storm does pass by Thursday. Now we'll be looking at the supercell composite parameter, which again is going to be really seeing the risk of seeing supercells. Again, it is a little bit too far to actually take this seriously, the SPC seriously. Again, this is still not incredibly close, so you can't really say, oh, it's going to be a severe weather outbreak. At this point, it's likely, but it's still far. Even if it looks likely, you definitely have to wait a little bit. So don't really overhype this yet, even if we do have a pretty widespread SPC risk here. But again, these numbers will definitely change multiple times before we even actually get to where it actually is at day 3, severe weather risk. So here we have again this risk of supercells developing here in Texas and Oklahoma. Seeing some 3s and then going to be seeing some 5s. Won't be seeing really an SPC risk whatsoever in the Dakotas. Like I said, it's going to be more of we're going to be seeing this stretching all the way from the Midwest to the South Central, but the biggest threat is going to be the South Central, of course, for tornadoes and supercells. Not really at this time of the year where we start seeing supercells and tornadoes in the Dakotas and the Midwest yet, but that time is getting closer. But again, here we have this threat here, 4 to 6, really on the SPC, which is still quite low at this point. Again, it is still far away, so SPC risk shouldn't be really high whatsoever because it would actually just be overhyping it. Again, now we'll have the wind threat though. The straight line winds and the jet and also the wind shear is going to be a threat. We're going to be seeing it just winds all over the place. Really instability is that number one really factor here for severe weather. Here we'll be seeing really up to 29 knots here in some of these areas in Montana. Here we're having that stream. You're going to be seeing kind of like, it's kind of like what we saw in the beginning of the video, that stream. You're going to kind of like see that resemblance here when it does come in. You're going to be seeing a lot more winds. Now going to be seeing up to now around 30 knots in some of these areas in Minnesota, the Dakotas. That's going to be coming from that stream, and all these of course, this band is going to be getting close to 30 knots, maybe even 35 knots off of there into off the coast of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Then by later Wednesday, we see a bit of a bigger threat now for winds now out here respawning in the Midwest as these bands move eastward by Wednesday. That's where we have that bigger threat now, and then that will diminish into now by Thursday. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll have multiple more updates on this so you guys are weather aware, and so that we can obviously be prepared for if this does become a potential widespread outbreak. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye guys.